Yashodanandana Braja Yamuna Tira Bachari Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jai Gaurani Jai, Jai Gaurani Jai, Gaurani Jai, Jai Gaurani Jai, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada. युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्योत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। We are reading from Canto 5, Chapter 8, The Character of Bharat Maharaj, Text 13. So I'll read the prose. Patishu cha mukda bhavena tatra tatra vishakta mati pranaya bhara hridayah karpanya skandheno dvahati evam utsanga urasi chadhayo palalayan mudam paramam avapa. What word meaning? Patishu, on the forest paths. Cha, also. Mugdha bhavena, by the childish behavior of the deer. Tatra tatra, here and there. Vishaktamati, whose mind was too much attracted. Pranaya, with love. Bhara, loaded. Hridayah, whose heart. Karpanya, because of affection and love. Skandhena, by the shoulder. Udvahati, carries. Evam, in this way. Utsange, sometimes on the lap. Urasi, on the chest while sleeping. Cha, also. Adhaya, keeping. Upalalayan, fondling. Mudam, pleasure. Paramam, very great. Avapa, he felt. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When entering the forest, the animal would appear very attractive to Maharaj Bharat due to its childish behavior. Maharaj Bharat would even take the deer on his shoulders and carry it due to affection. His heart was so filled with great love for the deer that he would sometimes keep it on his lap or, when sleeping, on his chest. In this way, he felt great pleasure in fondling the animal. But Maharaj Bharat left his home, wife, children, kingdom, and everything else to advance his spiritual life in the forest. But again, he fell victim to the material affection due to his attachment to an insignificant pet deer. What then was the use of his renouncing his family? One who is serious in advancing his spiritual life should be very cautious not to become attached to anything but Krishna. Sometimes, in order to preach, we have to accept many material activities, but we should remember that everything is for Krishna. If we remember this, there is no chance of our being victimized by material activities. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम् Hare Krishna. So here the context is very nice. Bharat Maharaj is no more a Maharaj, he has become a renunciant, he has come to the forest. He has renounced everything and he has come, but unfortunately, he had left all the deer once, but got attached to a deer in the forest. What to do? Yeah. That's a very important thing to note, that when he was getting attached to the deer in the forest, unfortunately there was no association, there were no devotees around. And from last 2 days, Achyut Prabhu and Arisha Prabhu, when they were speaking, they were highlighting this point, that no one was there around to tell, Bharat Prabhu, what are you doing? You're getting attached to the deer, what are you doing? No one was there to tell. So last Sunday feast class when I gave, I made some points. I would like to repeat that for my own purification. So it's a myth to think that I can practice bhakti alone. During Prabhupada's time, there were few devotees who were there who would think that no, I have come to Vrindavan just to do Nirjan Bhajan. Now, Nirjan Bhajan is something which is not recommended. But then they wanted to do Nirjan Bhajan and imitate the great personality Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. 16 rounds we are not able to chant properly, and people are attempting to chant 192 rounds. Full day chanting. That's a very important thing to note that Nirjan Bhajan is something which is not recommended for devotees. I remember this was in the South India Youth Festival, Parivartan. So after morning talk by His Holiness Sri Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj, he asked me where should I sit and chant. And I told him so many rooms are there in the backstage. Maharaj, you can sit somewhere and you can chant. And then he looked at me like, no, this is Nirjan Bhajan. I don't want to fall down. Take me to a place where I'll be packed up with devotees. And then I took him to the place where all over 2,000 boys were sitting. He was very happy. He went in one of the circle and he sat. That one small interaction with Maharaj helped me to understand that even for a short time, Nirjan Bhajan is not recommended. If such great sannyasis can say that, we are very puny in front of them, very, very chutku. So it's a myth basically to think that, okay, I've got everything now, I understand, Bhagavad Gita is there, Bhagavatam is there, beads are there, everything is there. Let me do it alone. No, it will not work. We need association of devotees. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada established this entire huge platform called International Society for Krishna Consciousness, just so that we are packed up with devotees all the time, even when we don't want it. From the top, so many seniors are there. From the bottom, so many subordinates are there. And we are surrounded by so many equals. So you're packed up by devotees. And one devotee was sharing that this is the most safest position for a living entity in the age of Kali who is attempting to do devotional service. Safest position, packed up. Anywhere, a little bit we deviate, and then we have so many people around to instruct. And it's a very natural tendency of a living entity to be independent and not to take guidance. Natural. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Gopina Manaje Pagala Mora Namane Shasana Sada Chetan Vishayo Heche Ghora. Gopinath, my mind is mad. Manaje Pagala Mora. My mind is mad. Why your mind is mad? Why? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, why are you saying this? He says, Na mane shasana. My mind does not like shasan. My mind does not like authority. My mind does not like guidance. Sada achetan, always jada, always inert. And Vishay roeche ghora, always immersed in sense gratification. In this world, how do we make friends and enemies? Anyone who supports our sense gratification, even in devotee association, by the way. Anyone who supports our sense gratification, anyone who fans our ego, that person is our best friend. And anyone who becomes an obstacle for our sense gratification and hurts our ego becomes our enemy. And anyone who instructs us, we don't like. We don't like. Yeah? Kisne pucha hai? Who has asked you? I didn't ask you. Why are you instructing? So it's very natural that we, as a living entity, having this covering of subtle body called mind, we does not like guidance, we does not like instruction. It's very natural. But it's a great necessity in life, especially for devotees. Outsiders forget it. Anyways, they're paving their path towards hell. That's okay. But when it comes to devotees who want to come back to God, to spiritual world, it's very, very important to have guidance. It's very important to receive instructions. That devotee is a rich devotee who has a treasure of instructions from his superiors. That devotee is a rich devotee. Because finally in spiritual life, what matters is that someone is caring for us, someone has taken us as his project to transform us and take us back to God. It's a great thing in spiritual life to have someone at the top who is guiding us, who is caring for us, who is instructing us and taking us on the right path. Very, very important. What to talk about we Baddha Jivas? Nitya Muktas have actually given us nice case studies to understand that guidance is very, very important. And we shouldn't take decision on our own. Bharat Maharaj, no guidance. He took decision on his own. I'll take the deer to my ashram. This is how I'll fondle the deer. This is how I'll care for the deer. I've given this example before also, but I would like to repeat for my own purification. The example of Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami had one-to-one intense class directly from the lotus mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Supreme Personality of Godhead is giving a Bhagavatam class, which is recorded in Chaitanya Charitamrita. One-to-one. And then if you're sitting one-to-one, you cannot sleep also. You have to listen. And you have to ask questions also. So, when the entire talk is, this was for 2 months, continuously for 2 months, Sanatan Goswami is hearing directly from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that talk is not an ordinary talk. Sanatan Goswami is not asking, well, chanting I sleep, so what should I do? I'm getting attracted to opposite gender, so what should I do? Nothing. Their talks are really high level. He's asking about different incarnations. He's asking about this material nature. He's asking about various services that has to be done on the spiritual platform. And after such intense discussion, after 2 months, when Sanatan Goswami, I think he goes to Vrindavan and then again he comes to Jagannath Puri. Now, while coming to Jagannath Puri, Jharikhanda forest, it is described due to some infection, he gets a lot of skin problem. And then, without taking guidance, Sanatan Goswami, he decides, what is the use of this body? I'll commit suicide. This is our Tuesday evening discussion that is currently going on. I'll commit suicide. So when he decided that I'll commit suicide, so we understand here clearly that a person, such a great personality who had a direct class for 2 months by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, can also get into such a problem, such a great ignorance that he's thinking to commit suicide. And everyone knows, it's Shastra, it's very clear. One cannot commit suicide. No, it's a sin. And one will be punished for that. But still here, Sanatan Goswami, just to set an example for all of us, he has decided that he'll commit suicide without taking any guidance. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells him that once you surrender yourself to someone, the body belongs to that person. You're no more the owner of the body. So Sanatan, tell me, how is it right that you're trying to destroy someone else's property? And after telling all these different things, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells him that how he wants to utilize the body of Sanatan Goswami for a huge mission that is waiting ahead. Now here we understand very clearly that even great personalities have set an example for all of us that when we don't take guidance and when we decide for our own self what we're supposed to do, it might end up in a great havoc. Just imagine if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not there, just a very hypothetical situation. Sanatana Goswami is committing suicide. Now this personality is supposed to do so much of service in Vrindavan. He's supposed to establish temples, Vaishnava etiquettes, Vaishnava Sadachar, deity worship, write books, so many things. And he is one such personality, who wrote Hari Bhakti Vilas, which talks about so many different principles for a devotee. Just imagine, we would have lost the personality. Yes. So in this way, we understand mind does not want to listen to someone. He does not want to hear any instruction. Mind does not want anyone at the top, but still in spiritual life, it's very important to accept an authority and keep requesting instructions from them and implementing that instruction in our day-to-day life. It's very, very important to note. Some devotees, once they see that instructions are not implemented, they might not give more instructions. As I've seen some of my superiors like that. They will not. And then you have to analyze what happened. Always is glorifying, no chastisement, no instruction. Something is wrong, looks like. Then we understand. Kuch to gadbad. He told something I have not done. That's very clear. So in this way, a spiritualist, a spiritual aspirant who is eager to come back to Godhead should have an authority, should be in the association of devotees, and should be eager to practice bhakti in the association of devotees. Now here, in this particular verse that we see, when entering the forest, animal would appear very attractive to Maharaj Bharat due to its childish behavior. Maharaj Bharat would even take the deer on his shoulders and carry it due to affection. His heart was so filled with great love for the deer that he would sometimes keep it on his lap or when sleeping on his chest. In this way, he felt great pleasure in fondling the animal. How does the attachment develop? It's just about spending time with the person or a thing whom we want to develop attachment with. Yes. Now, sometimes I've heard from youth boys. In my office, probably not many beautiful girls are there. I don't think I'll get attached. Yes. It's just a matter of time. The same ugly woman will start looking beautiful. That's a fact. And vice versa for Matajis also. Yes. Same ugly woman will start looking very beautiful. It's just a matter of association. More we spend time with some person, obviously we'll get attached to that person, no doubt about that. Naturally, we'll start developing loving affection towards that person. And then, sometimes people say that, "Arey, tujhe aur koi mili nahi? Tujhe aur koi mila nahi? What is this? This is not a proper match." But then we don't know that how much time they have spent with each other, that they've developed so much of attachment and attraction towards each other. It's just a matter of spending time. And here, Bharat Maharaj's situation is so pathetic. Prabhupada writes, he left his home, wife, children, kingdom, everything else to advance in spiritual life in the forest, but again fell victim to material affection due to his attachment to an insignificant pet deer. When I was reading this today morning, I was just thinking that in general, as devotees give up so much to come to bhakti and advance in bhakti. Would you like to name some? In general, devotees, what all they give up? Social circle. They stop going for parties. They stop mingling with people around because they will talk something nonsense they don't want to hear. Yes, what else? Give up for religion. Follow for religion. True. It's such a difficult thing. Giving up, there's so many devotees who are drunkards before coming to Krishna consciousness. Giving up alcohol, giving up drugs, that's still okay. Giving up tea, coffee. I still remember I used to drink 6 times a day. In my 12th standard, my mother would make, I would drink and then study. 6 times a day. Give up tea, coffee. Sometimes I've heard devotees saying, "PrabhuJi, I've given up tea, coffee, but then my head is aching so much. Can I take once in a while?" And same devotees are very comfortable later on. They give up meat eating. I remember this was in 2017 or 18. One of the devotees was staying in base, now settled in Pune. So it was it was Kartik Mas and Kartik Vrata, he had taken that he'll not take sweets. And after Bhishma Panchak of 5 days of roots and fruits, last day was feast and sweet rice was made. And his plate was Govardhan of sweet rice. So I asked him, "Prabhu, what is this? So much of sweets you're taking." He said, "PrabhuJi, you don't know what I've sacrificed outside and I've come here." And he was explaining to me that in his house there would be, hen, chicken. And he was saying that he would personally go and kill and then personally clean. And then his mother, and the cut, give it to his mother. Mother would cook and they would nicely eat. He said, "PrabhuJi, this was the almost every alternate day affair in my home. Now I've given up all that. The only higher taste is this." So I was thinking, how much devotees give up? It's very difficult, by the way. You like it, you love so much to eat such so and so things, and you give up. Eating pani puri in the thela. Yes, devotees give up. And when it comes to illicit sex, can you imagine in the age of Kali, where everyone in ACS layout is going around with a girl, not his wife, someone else, still to be away and not get into illicit activity, not ordinary. Where everyone is seeing something nonsense on YouTube and other websites, avoiding all that. Even when there is an inclination to do it. See, if there is no inclination, understood. But even when there is an inclination to do it, still avoiding that, still giving up. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. The devotees give up all this. And what else devotees give up? What is that? Physical comforts. Or only a base devotee can say this. Physical comforts, yes. I don't know who was that. One of the devotees who shifted from flat to our base. He was saying for a few days I was not getting sleep. Because I used to always sleep on a huge mattress. and here there is a narrow or thin mat that is given to me. Yes, physical comforts are given up. Who does not like to sleep in Brahma Murta? Everyone likes. But giving up the bed early in the morning just to attend Mangalarti, that's a big thing. Devotees give up their sleep, the devotees give up their comforts. Yeah, what else? Giving up outside food. Yeah, even if it's a vegetarian food, devotees give up outside food. No, I'll not eat. It's not prasad. How can I eat? And by mistakenly, when a devotee takes, due to whatever ignorance or influence of people around, friends and colleagues or whatever, they feel so much of guilt feeling. So much of guilt feeling. मैंने खा लिया बाहर. Prabhupada says only prasad, and such a nasty person I am. I've eaten up. I've eaten something abominable. And sometimes I've heard devotees saying, Prabhuji, today I ate stool and I drank urine. See, the point that I'm trying to make here is, devotees give up so many things and then they come to Krishna consciousness. And after coming to Krishna consciousness, we see that sometimes devotees slacken in their devotional service. So we should have this contemplation. I gave up so many things just to practice devotional service intensely. But look at my unfortunate situation that I'm slackening in devotional service. How can I take breaks in my devotional service? How can I slacken, in practicing devotional service? So this thought, the thought itself that I've given up so many different things and I've come to Krishna consciousness will ignite a fire in the devotee to practice devotional service intensely. No doubt about that, intensely. Now, since we are used to giving up so many things outside, it shouldn't happen that we give up devotional service also. Yes, we give up this, we give up that. No, one has to be very, very cautious. That's what is the point that is made here. So I would also like to speak about the full-time devotees. When it comes to us as full-time devotees, we have to count how many different things we have given up and we have come to Krishna consciousness. Yeah, we could have had the same luxurious job which we had. People are earning in lakhs, those are sitting in front of me. And one could have had a very nice, beautiful wife, yes, and the two kids who call Papa, yes, given up all that. Given up that family, which loves and cares even now. So many times call and ask, how are you, what you're doing, etc., etc. Can you imagine? So after giving up all that future luxuries also, giving up the position. Can you imagine when someone is working as a manager or a tech lead or whatever it is, earning a high salary, and then a person becomes monk. And sometimes outside people don't know what is the qualification of the person. Then they'll ask, "Aapko padhna likhna aata hai?" Padhna likhna aata hai. I remember when I was talking to one boy came and he asked me a question, and then I started answering in English. He was awestruck. You know English? You know English? So we see that after giving up all that, and then when we come in Brahmachari ashram, then when we're serving, it's very important to always contemplate on this point. I've given up so many different things for only one goal, that is to develop intense attachment to Krishna. And what am I doing here now in this place? Am I really moving towards that goal of getting attached to Krishna? Or am I getting attached to so many different things of this world? Calling oneself to be a renunciant, after calling oneself to be a renunciant. It's very, very important that we keep contemplating and self-introspecting. That now I've given up all these different things for only one goal, that is attachment to Krishna. But then, am I really getting attached to Krishna? Or am I getting attached to other temporary things of this world, which we were condemning ourselves in our classes at various times? So this has to be very much contemplated on. So here, Prabhupada is saying that what then was the use of his renouncing his family? This is very much valid for all of us also as renunciants. One who is serious in advancing his spiritual, One who is serious in advancing his spiritual life should be very cautious not to become attached to anything but Krishna. So this is something which is a very strong line which Prabhupada has written. One who is serious in advancing his spiritual life should be very cautious not to become attached to anything but Krishna. I would like to repeat yesterday's point which Hariksha was making to my own remembrance. So Prabhuji was saying that how, as preachers, we start getting attached to the services which are there, and we start getting attached to people who are there, who are taking guidance from us. It's a very deadly thing. Obviously, when we are guiding, we should be guiding the way as if we are attached to them so much. But then internally, one has to be detached. I always say this in different classes that one counselee is enough to keep us successfully in this material world. Yes, one counselee is enough. One subordinate is enough to pull us down and keep us in this material world. Sometimes people say also, no, Prabhuji, I've taken your shelter. I'm holding your dhoti. I just tell them, don't pull very hard. Don't pull. Then leave me. I want to go back home, back to Godhead. If you want to come, you come yourself. We have given all the things what we are supposed to give. So it's a very important thing to note, again, as preachers, that we have to be detached from the results of our preaching endeavors. And preaching endeavors or preaching results also include people who become our followers. Very, very important. Many fans might come and keep turning around all the time. So it's very, very careful that we don't get attached to those fans. And also at the same time, as for full-time devotees, it's very, very important for us that we don't get attached to money, followers, especially opposite gender. Very, very important. People might be taking guidance, and it's a nature of a female to take shelter of a male. And it's very much obvious, that when we are in the garb of a renunciant, what happens? Naturally, people come to take shelter. Naturally. And they'll start pouring a lot of problems on what they have, pouring their heart. So we shouldn't become the Supreme Personality of Godhead and start giving shelter to everyone around. We should know our capacity, we should know our capabilities, and at the same time, we should know our level. Yes, which level I'm in? Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So we should know which level we are in. And accordingly, we should deal. Accordingly, we should think of. I was hearing to His Grace Radhesham Prabhu in one of the classes, he was saying that as youth preachers, it's very important that we don't hear all the garbage that the boy is dumping on us. He might be speaking about his affair with his girlfriend, about whatever nasty activities that he has done with her, or whatever, past whatever he has done. He was saying that we hear a little bit and we tell, okay, I understood. And boy had come and then he was telling me, Roji, I want to tell you in detail what all I did with her. I said, keep the details with you. I've understood what you might have done. No need to explain in detail. No, Prabhuji, I'll explain you. No, so you should know me in and out. I should explain you. So you should be very, very careful. Just stop that conversation, because we are not Paramahamsas that all the contaminations are coming and then we are drying up all that contamination or absorbing all that. We will absorb and we'll start contemplating. That's what is our current situation. So I should be very, very careful, like that. Therefore, it's very important that we don't get attached to people. We are actually the instruments in the hands of Guru and Krishna, and our job is just to execute what they want. They want us to get living entities to the realm of devotional service. That's what we're supposed to do. And then guide them nicely the way they want us to guide. And then, most important thing, connect them to Krishna. Make them attached to Krishna. Then they're getting attached to us. And Prabhuji made a very important point yesterday that as it is expected in the Vedic scriptures that wife should be attached to husband and husband should be attached to Guru. If the husband gets attached to the wife, it's a havoc. Similarly, when it comes to us as preachers, the subordinate should be attached to us and we should be attached to Guru and Krishna. The time when we are attached to the subordinates, it's a havoc for us, for our spiritual life. And here it is said, sometimes in order to preach, we have to accept many material activities. But we should remember that everything is for Krishna. If we remember this, there is no chance of our being victimized by material activities. I was hearing one pastime of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was sitting and counting Lakshmi, counting money. And then some visitor came, some politician. He came and he sat in front of Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is talking to that politician and simultaneously counting also. So that politician started thinking, what sort of a renunciant he is. He's counting money. He's so attached to money. And when the counting was done, Prabhupada called one of his disciples, who was a leading preacher or a manager, and he said he had divided the Lakshmi into some parts, and he said this part should be used for that project, this part should be used for this project, this part should be used for that project. And the devotee took everything and he went. So the same person was counting money, so much of money was there around him. Now he had nothing. And then the politician understood he is a real renunciant. He is the realization, it seems. I was hearing Baldev Pro from Chapati, he was talking about this pastime. So this is called as not being attached. So we are using things for service of Krishna, and it is used in service of Krishna. But then we should be very careful of this Yukta Vairagya principle. Yes, because most of the time Yukta Vairagya is done for our own sense gratification. Yes, so we should be very careful that Yukta Vairagya is done for the satisfaction of Guru and Krishna. Therefore, it is described that doesn't matter how senior we have become in Krishna consciousness, we take guidance, especially in this Yukta Vairagya principle. And as for full-time devotees, it's very much important. Whatever we purchase for ourselves, for the project, we should be very, very careful that is it really needed? And am I utilizing it properly in service of Krishna or not? If you're not utilizing it, and if it was something which was not a need, but out of greed, then we have to understand that I'm just exploiting Krishna's resources. Then has to be very, very careful about this point. We are not here to exploit, we are here to serve Krishna, not to exploit Krishna. So in this way, it's very important that we remember that everything is for Krishna. And if we remember this, Prabhupada is writing, there is no chance of our being victimized by material activities. So I pause here. If you have any questions, you can ask. Any questions?
We don't like people who are there are other scenarios where these are among the equals devotees in the instruction. At that time, it becomes very difficult to develop and we have a good connection. So, what type of consciousness comes out is very hard, like become very
averse to that person. Obviously, it's a natural tendency. Forget about equals. We don't like superiors also instructing many times. Therefore, I at least I remain very cautious that same person, if I instructed in this week, maybe next week I'll give instruction. Then this week I'll not repeat again. So I feel like, no, this is not correct. No, but I've already done. Monday is over. Tuesdays I've done already once, and I cannot. So it's but obvious we don't like it, but obvious. So maybe just not to offend the devotee, we keep safe distance from the devotee. Yeah. And we work on ourselves. At least one thing that we have to do is at least come to a platform where whatever instructions the superiors are giving, we should be able to take. At least that much Bhadraji can try to do. That is also after some time very difficult. Because when we spend time in Krishna consciousness and when we become senior, very senior, then when we are very senior, then our senior also is almost equal to us. So why take instruction then? Why hear them? All these things will come. But at least this throughout our life, if we can maintain some superior and we are able to receive instructions from them, it's a success of human form, I would say. And regarding equals giving instruction, there should be some people whom we hear. For example, if we know that this particular devotee is my well-wisher and he is not doing to exploit me, such devotees we can hear. But there will be some people who might be exploiting us for their own sense gratification. Once we understand that, we keep safe distance from them. So otherwise, if there is some well-wisher of ours and literally that devotee wants us to advance Krishna consciousness, then Krishna has sent that person to us. So we should hear such people. So we should basically analyze and categorize this devotee belongs to which one. for exploiting me or for benefiting me. And accordingly, this is what is my limited understanding. Yeah.
Very nice that you mentioned about the association of devotees, importance of this point regarding that you mentioned that when we are helping someone or counseling someone, with them as it as if we are attached to them, it being detached. So this appears to be little kind of duplicity in our behavior that we are doing them like that. So maybe we can rephrase it saying that we have to strongly attach them to Guru and Krishna rather than ourselves. So if we show them we are attached, then we are being detached.
So what we are attached to is his advancement in Krishna consciousness. So I was hearing this, from one of the senior devotee. So he was sharing that when you're guiding someone, it's like, yes, I'm the only one who's guiding him. I'm the one who's going to help him. That mood, we are trying to do everything possible. But then internally, as devotees, we understand it's Guru and Krishna who's actually going to do it. Yes. So as a service, we do it, with whatever is needful in that particular situation. But internally, we very well know, because what happens is, say that devotee is not advancing. So this preacher will become morose. Why? Because he's attached so much. When I'm helping him, I'll be attached to him. In that context, I'll be helping him. But then, when I've done my bit, and still he's not able to advance. Now thinking about that devotee who is not able to advance, and this devotee is getting affected, and his own chanting is getting affected, that is not proper. So we do our bit, and then we understand Krishna and Guru is going to take care of them, like that. So it's not duplicity. Not duplicity. So basically, we understand our role. When I'm helping him as an instrument, my role is there. But once that help is done, I don't have any role to play as such after that. Only thing I can do is pray to Krishna, right? And then understand that yes, they are going to do the needful, like that. And as you rightly said, if we can connect them to Guru and Krishna, that's a great service. So that's a great service. Anything else? So we hear some realizations.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for the wonderful class. Some points which I've taken away is that it is the general tendency of a conditioned living entity, especially in Kali Yuga, that it does not like guidance, instructions, and feedback. So this is something which I have to work upon myself. I hope I'll be able to do something in this regard. One who is serious in Krishna consciousness should not get attached to anything but Krishna. So I was thinking how Srila Prabhupada managed to do this. And it is very obvious that despite all the unbelievable, incredible, astounding, dumbfounding success which he got, he maintained his sadhana of spending most amount of time with Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's how he was managing to, I remember that situation where the first center is established and he's sending Mukunda Maharaj. As you go there, maybe try to start a center. And as soon as he sends a telegram that something is done, he just leaves. So Brahmanand Prabhu was commenting that we used to think that Krishna consciousness means 22nd Avenue and this matchless gift shop and the downtown, and that's all. But then Prabhupada he taught them the principles and he just left. So the reason why he was able to do so, an old man coming in a place where there is no one to help him, how much grateful will he be to those people who helped him to set up ISKCON, register ISKCON and run, especially after that attack. He left Bauri and then he got settled in a new apartment with the help of those people. How much grateful he should be for them. So he is grateful, but his gratitude is being expressed by teaching this principle when he just moves from one center to another center. Very tearfully he writes that letter that keep the standards up and everything. So if I can also in my life ensure at least at my level that I'm spending more time with Krishna, meaning the holy name, his name, form, qualities, pastimes, his services, with the service attitude of serving him, then there is a very good chance that by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, I can also not get attached to anything else except Krishna. Yukta Vairagya, when used for sense gratification, it is no longer Yukta Vairagya. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much for a nice class. So this is the point which I liked very much. That safest position for a devotee who is trying to practice bhakti in this age is having that packed up association all the time. This is the safest thing. And as usual, your mind does not like to take any instruction, even having in the association of devotees. So requesting instruction is very nice point. So they won't give here. Requesting instruction means that I'm eager, at least to progress in bhakti. So this point that after trying to give up my place myself, so many things outside, still getting attached to some things around and getting slackened in devotional service. So this contemplation will ignite a fire to practice intense bhakti. So this contemplation I should take it up and meditate upon. Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
We'll stop here. So 9:30. Introduction of Bhagavatam. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.